True peace must be anchored in justice and an unwavering commitment to the protection of human rights, but it also requires the courage to remember without being enslaved by the past. Archbishop Desmond Tutu, chair of the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Stay to the end. I want to show you a tree in my garden that my landlord planted many years ago, because he planted this Zen garden. He's a landscaper, and I still haven't been able to find out the name of this tree. But I'm coming on to talk about episode 246 of the Peacewarts series on the Peace is Here podcast. I'm Avis, and because there's not a little turn around, I'm just going to film because I really want to show you this tree. And I showed you another tree in Chico, so I thought I'd show you one in my backyard. But the one right out my window is this lovely Japanese maple. It looks very bonsai. It's not very big, and it's just, I feel so grateful that it's there. The current episode is on truth and reconciliation, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm just hit by this energy of the world where I think, why do I feel a little low? Well, one reason is just a lot of things I've going on. So I know I didn't sleep well a couple nights ago, but I also hear other people talking about it, and I think it is when we're in war, there's this collective energy, and that things can affect us. So is someone's energy affecting us across the planet? In Iran, I don't know, but I certainly would think that the energy of people here in the US that are worrying about it would affect us, and possibly, probably it's all connected. This episode, and this is actually my script here on my laptop, is on truth and reconciliation. And can we see a future where very little of this is needed because the trauma and the harm and the killing has stopped? That is the path that I believe we're on. But in order to get to that other side, when war is over, or a conflict or a trauma is over, how do we stop repeating it? And so I was, let's look at what some of the homework things are. I really love this episode. This is probably, well, I do get emotional when I'm recording, but in this episode, I actually left it in. I was recording part of it, and it was like, oh, it's just so much. But I learned from Ram Dass this week. And instead of saying something's too much, and also from Jack Kornfield on a similar thought, that rather than saying that something's too much, we just realize that we do have the capacity to accept it. And in the case of Ram Dass talking about it, it was kind of a hippie phrase back in the day to say, oh, too much, man. And one of his friends would say, no, it's just enough. In the case of deeply felt grief, Jack Kornfield works with people to let that grief and pain and sorrow expand. Ooh, yes, feeling emotional. Out and out and out, and just expand and let it go and feel it and have compassion for it rather than suppressing it. These are the times that we're in. So the first item on the homework, and I get to really have it be easy today since I'm looking at my screen, look up the family group conferencing model in New Zealand and find one detail about how the community participates in the reintegration phase. One of the things on the podcast was how in South Africa, after all of that trauma and killing, they could have spent years and years and years going through trials and in a courtroom type setting to try to go after the people who had perpetrated all of those things. But instead they decided that if the perpetrator came forward and was honest about what happened, and whoever was the victim could listen, that it would be reconciled in that setting. And it's a very powerful concept, and something we're going to need if we're going to get to the other side to peace. because of all of the trauma and killing we're in right now. We need to stop it, but until we do, some of the repetitive cycle of war, part of it is what we do afterwards. So that tree that I mentioned, and I sure hope someone will DM me or email me. I have a contact form on my website, avaskalvsbeck.com, and let me know what it is. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna go. Let's look at Teo. Hello, buddy. And I can't take you outside because I don't have you on the leash. I do have a long leash out here that I'll put him on so we can wander around. So, oh, hang on, bud. Oh, he's sneaking out. 1 second. So here's the outside view of that beautiful tree. And then let's go over to, I think it's some kind of a weeping pine, but he created this little Buddha garden. And I haven't sat out here yet to meditate, but that's my plan. He made this little rock circle. But see this kind of weeping pine tree? I know what a weeping willow is. It's not a willow. It has these beautiful kind of silvery leaves, and it's been here. That's just the branch. Where's its main trunk? It's in here. There it is. And it's just so graceful and beautiful. And if anyone knows the name of it, I actually looked it up again right before I started recording because I thought I could say the name of what it was, but I couldn't find it. I did find something that was like weeping red pine, but it didn't seem to match up perfectly. So thanks for listening and watching. Peace and love.